You're wondering what we're going to do to you, aren't you?
Say in your mind, say to yourself, I am more than my physical body, because I am more than physical matter. I can perceive that which is greater than the physical world. I deeply desire to expand, to experience, to know, to understand, to control, to use such greater energies and energy systems as may be beneficial and constructive to me and to those who follow me. I deeply desire the help and cooperation, the assistance, the understanding of those individuals whose wisdom, development, and experience are equal to or greater than my own. I ask their guidance and protection from any influence or any source that might provide me with less than my stated desires.
Do not know all the answers to the questions about reality. Do not claim to know the ultimate truth about time. I seek that which has been made hidden. As a part of a family and explorers of consciousness. I'm the void now.
Welcome to Lighting the Void.
All broadcasting live from a shack on a hill in the Mossy Creek bottoms of Cane Creek, Arkansas. This is Lighting the Void live. I'm your host, Joe Rubin. We're live on the Fringe FM. It is Thursday. It's Thursday, right? Or is it Wednesday? I don't even know what date it is. Thursday the 2nd. And we're going to finish strong. Speaking of finishing strong, our boy's in trouble. One of our very own Void Walkers, first Void Walker, that is in trouble. And he needs your help. Now, we need your help, too, to make sure that we hit our goals this month. But we're not in pain. The website was down just for a little bit, but we barely hit our goal. We've been barely hitting the goal. We've been catching up every month. Thanks to you guys. You guys are freaking awesome, actually. And the hosts on the station, big shout out to Dancing Dave. But our boy's in trouble. Give me a second. I just spilled coffee all over myself. While the intro was going on, I was running around here. I had to change my shirt. Yeah, it's nasty. So, you guys remember Pacho, right? If you've been listening to the show. Pacho. Our number one producer. He's the only producer of the show that I ever had that was booking guests and doing all kinds of stuff. Back when Lighting the Void was in its heyday, let's say it reached a peak. We were peaking. Do you know why? You know why we were peaking? We were peaking because of Pacho, because of Patrick Newland. And so this guy is in trouble and he needs our help. He hurt his leg. He was out skiing with his partner. He's been living it up and he busted his leg. So he's trying to raise like $4,000 to fix his leg. I have the link. I'll drop it in the chat. But if you go to GoFundMe and you go to just search Patrick Newland, that's Newlin, Or you could also put in knee and leg recovery. It's got a picture of him and his partner on the ski slopes there. Pacho. He's down for the count. His legs all busted up, and he needs our help. Other than that, comes with the territory. As much skiing as this guy's been doing, I would think. But it looks like some of the people that I know of already donated, like Cindy, Katie, Danielle, Monica, donated a little bit. So we only have to raise $65 more to be caught up for the month. So any donations that you guys donate towards the Fringe FM, we'll fix. So it'll be half and half until we get past the 65. And if you donate anything, I would say for the next week to the Fringe FM, we're going to give that to Pacho. We just got to hit that 65. That's all. But, I'm pretty sure he's going to get back on the ski slopes and get back up and at it if I know him. So he says here, this is one of our own. I got to do it. So he says here, I recently took a trip to the moon and my return to Earth was a bit of a crash landing. I was injured while skiing at home a little over a week ago, and my right knee sustained strained ligaments and torn cartilage with possible muscle tears in my lower leg and bruised heel. Recovery's looking promising, hopefully without surgery if things go well. I'm now able to walk a little bit again, unassisted, and the swelling and bruising seems to be running its course. I feel very fortunate that things were not worse, and that overall, I'm okay. My partner Meg also injured her leg in the process of trying to help me during the accident. God, what a lucky guy. To find me a girl like that. But she injured herself trying to help him and I'm just kidding, just joking. I get myself in trouble here. And has some partial tears in her calf muscle. Her recovery is looking good as well. But add into the complexity of things, we are pregnant and expecting a little girl. Oh, why didn't you tell me that, dude? You should have messaged me that, Pacho. Congrats, bro. So he's saying, and being laid up has affected some things at home. So our friends and family have been supportive and helpful this past week, and we're very grateful. I am familiar with the healing journey, but this time around, I was not prepared for the financial side of things. I'm having to take at least a couple weeks off from work, and I've started physical therapy. So he says it feels a little weird asking for donations for money, but I also understand how this feels for other people when they're in times of need, and I try to give when I can. Thank you so much for any type of help and support, even if it's just sending some good thoughts. So at the very least, send Pacho some good thoughts, and if you got something to help out, you can go straight there and donate if you want, or you can just, if you donate to the Fringe FM, we'll split it up until we hit our 65, and then any of that other stuff will go straight to him. Looks like Navier donated towards him too. So he's raised, looks like $900 so far. That's why I don't go out in the cold, man. I just don't do it. I don't do it. Michael says, I'm going to donate tomorrow, brother. Thanks, man. You donate a lot. We appreciate that. We really do, bro. You're a big help. You and Genevieve both. So here's the thing. We got to do it. We're known here. We start strong. We come out the gate strong, but we got to finish this Orion thing. We have to. We can't get down to the end of it and then be like, okay, whatever. Even though I've probably mocked 40% of the book at least. So if you're just tuning in and this is the first time that you've tuned in to this, whether it's on the station, the podcast, or YouTube, this is all about some kind of weird matrix system that Wes Penre has talked about. It's another one of these don't go to the light, it's a trick kind of thing. So he wrote a book called the Orion book, and we've been dabbling with it throughout the history of the show for the past month or so. And so far what he's told us is that the god of this world is Enki, Lucifer, and Uriel are pretty much the same thing. They're all the same being. And that we're in a matrix that Lucifer created. And the real god is a queen, actually, the queen of Orion. And then if there's a big portion of the book where he talks about narcissists and things like that. So, kind of goes along with the times, doesn't it? So much relationship drama on Facebook and social media nowadays. Now it's, you pick up a book and try to figure out what happens after we die, because Gareth reached out to us about it, and it's like there's projections of that stuff in here. So, but with the poll on YouTube, I did a poll on YouTube, and I asked you listeners, if you die and you are aware of a grid that's around the earth and you're aware of this thing, are you still going to go to the light, knowing that the light is more comfortable, right? So when you die, you come out of body and you look up and you see a light tunnel. But if you look to your left or wherever else and you see a grid with a hole in it, do you do what Wes is telling you to do? Do you go through the grid? Do you go through the hole in the grid? Or do you just go to the tunnel? And I thought most people were going to be like, man, I'm going through the light tunnel. But no, most of you said, matter of fact, I don't have the percentage pulled up with me right now, but most of you said that you're going to go to the hole in the grid. You're going to try to escape. So we're going to pick up where we left off, how to exit, a step-by-step method on how to exit, according to Wes Penre. So I've got my coffee, I've got my nicotine. Are y'all ready for this? What's up, Jen, Sir Wolf, Scruffy Beer, Barefoot Hippies? I wouldn't mind reincarnating a few thousand more times. See, I'm with you on that one. Most people are like, oh, I want to get the hell up on out of here, man. I like life, man. I mean, there's some sucky things about it, and there's sucky people, but there's so many good things about it. Maybe I'm not an old soul. Maybe I'm just a baby yet when it comes to that. So I want to stay here. I want to go to the beach, man. I want to eat food. I want to fall in love. I want to see sunsets. I want to, have life and light. And it just sucks that we have to forget every time, doesn't it? Another question, too. If you could come back and reincarnate at any age, what age would that be? What age would you reincarnate? Because I don't want to go through the baby thing and crap my pants and, I would like to reincarnate at about the age 13. Just come back and be 13 years old, probably. Might reincarnate into a worse place. Maybe. I think that depends on the life you live. Honestly. You could reincarnate, like if you're a snake your whole life and you're just snaky towards people, you could reincarnate into like a king snake or something. Or even worse, a poisonous snake, and everybody wants to kill you. And then you have to truly be a bastard to eat your food. So here's the list. Number 1. When your body dies, your avatar will leave your physical body, and the silver cord that connects your body with the avatar will burst. I know nothing of a silver cord, never seen it, don't know anything about it. Number 2, as soon as you understand you are dead, immediately look upward with your dead body as a reference. So orientate yourself from your dead body that you find, right? And then look straight up from it. You will now have a 360 vision, but you need to look upward, and there you will see the fuzzy grid with holes in it. Number 3, at any time during the procedure of exiting, if things get unclear or too fuzzy, execute the command inside your head. Clarity now. Sounds like William Buellman, doesn't it? That's what he says. Then everything will be clear. Even if you can't see the grid for any reason, think grid clarity now. And if you can see the grid but not the holes, think holes in the grid clarity now. You will then see a grid that almost looks like a Swiss cheese thingy. And you can randomly pick up one of the holes or pick out one of the holes and concentrate on it. Then you think to yourself, I'm with the highest aspect of myself on the other side of the grid now. And before you realize it, or before you realize what happened, you have withdrawn yourself from the matrix and you're out of the earth construct and will automatically be reconnected with your spirit body because you have withdrawn from your energy from the construct. This sounds completely wackadoo, folks. I'm just telling you. Okay. You are now a whole 3 UC again. You might find yourself in the solar system, but don't linger there because this is still Lucifer's domain, and you want to go somewhere it's safe. You may also notice you are rusty when it comes to moving around with your thought because you're not used to such a fast response when you think of something. And if you notice you fly to here and there like a leaf in the wind, stop your thoughts and focus on not to move for a while until you get the hang of it. And if you get lost, you can think yourself back to where you started. So, before we get to number 5, I'll say this. I remember when I was a kid, I used to flop around all the time out of body. Like, I would have nightmares. I hadn't had nightmares since I was a child, though. But I would just feel like I was flying out of control, and I could feel it in my stomach, like something was just slinging me around, like I was on some kind of roller coaster ride at the fair or something. I remember those feelings. So he's, that's the only thing I can relate to is what he's talking about there. Number 5, I will personally think myself to the queen so she can assist me and tell me what to do next. It's like a reunion, leading to the final separation from the mother. So I'll utter the command inside me. I am with the highest possible incarnation of the queen of the stars now. And that should take you to her, and she'll be glad to see you because you are her, only in a smaller version. But you do have her potentials, and as mentioned above, at any time if something is unclear, think the command, clarity now. It has proven to help those who practice out-of-body techniques. You see that I'm using the word now and all commands to make certain they get executed immediately. We can all decide how fast we want to move from A to B by thinking the corresponding thought in our head, whether we want to go fast or slow. This may come in handy if you are sightseeing. You can come up with any command in your head you wish, depending on what you wish and want, so long as it's executable. For example, I want to go to the Milky Way Galaxy, or I want to go to the Milky Way Galactic Center now. I'm not so sure you want to do that immediately, but it's just an example, and it's a possible thing to do. It's just a matter of focus. Many of us humans can be scatterheaded. Scatterheaded? You mean scatterbrained? Which is something we should work on while we're still alive. When we leave the matrix, we want to make sure we can at least keep a thought and intention long enough for a command to be executed and be able to restrain ourselves from thinking outwardly without boundaries. Otherwise, we will find ourselves all over the place until we've learned how to focus. It is imperative that you do not engage with anybody while you're finding your way out of the grid. I understand it might be hard if your deceased wife or husband approaches you and says your name. Maybe they're even crying or happy to see you. Don't fall for it. It's not real. And if you fall for it, you might miss your chance. So we are back to focus. Don't pay attention to anything or anybody in the astral after your death. Only concentrate on going through the grid. Yeah, but what if you're wrong and it is like your dead lover or family member and you're like, nope, I know you're fake. All this stuff gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. Ooh, that's that dark roast. Whew. There is also another person, a good friend of mine named Guy, who is a member of our forum, where we discuss matters like this, and he wrote an exit handout. They have handouts. They got a little handout community. What's up, Karma? Describing the exit procedure in as many significant details as possible. And I think it can be very useful for many people. It can be downloaded for free on my blog, and I think that's at westpenre.com. I suggest you download it and read it. It will give you some good tips because he covers many angles of the exit process. All right, quick question for you guys that are listening, and if you're not participating in the chat or calling in or whatever, I would like you to at least answer yes or no. You don't have to, but Here's a quick question. If this guy, Wes, who claims to know what happens after we die and it's all a big trick and he has this inside source that he won't reveal, but it's not an alien, but it is an alien, whatever. If this guy was happy with his life, let's just say he was happy. He was in a healthy, loving relationship, which we know he's not because he's wrote 12 pages about narcissists. But if he was happy, do you think he would be writing the same book? Yes or no? I'm voting no. What's up, Maria? I want to repeat myself and make the exit procedure even simpler. Here are steps 1 through 5, above without any extra explanation, only stripped down. It's a stripped down version. Number 1, your body dies and the silver cord breaks. Number 2, look up with your dead body as a reference and you'll see the grid in the holes. Number 3, if anything is unclear or confusing, think clarity now. Number 4, think yourself outside the grid by going through the hole. I'm with the highest aspect of myself on the other side of the grid now. Number 5, think I am with the highest possible incarnation of the Queen of the Stars now. You don't need to complicate your thoughts or 100% be 100% perfect with your commands, because even if you use a wrong word somewhere, you'll have the intention worked out inside yourself before you died. So let's say you want to go to the highest possible aspect of yourself, but you forget and only think, I want to go to the aspect of myself. But your mind still knows what you mean because it knows your real incarnation or your real intention. Not incarnation. So there are 3 things you need to combine to get the best results when you execute your commands. And for many of us, these 3 things will happen automatically, but I still want to mention them. Number 1, imagination. You imagine the outcome in your mind. For example, you imagine yourself outside the grid before you are there. Number 2, intention. You need a clear intention that this is what you want. You can't be in doubt about it. It won't work. And number 3, thought. Execute the command in your mind. Some souls don't need to do this. It's enough to set the intention, and they are on the other side. They think in packages rather than words, and all they need to do is spot a hole in the grid, and before you know it, they're on the other side. The intention to go there without a conscious thought about it will work for some. All right, we got 4 no's counting mine. See, or no, Genevieve said nope twice. Yeah, see, so we got 3 no's. Usually, let's be honest, people that come into this realm of the spirituality with this kind of, or I guess you could say woke crowd, metaphysical, spiritual, ET community, whatever you want to call it. Well, we just call it void walking here, but a lot of people come here not because they're super passionate or interested in these subjects, but because they have really no happy, intimate life. Like they're not finding happiness in other people. That's just a fact. I'm just telling you the facts, okay? So even a lot of people come to spirituality, period, religion, all kinds of things, because they're not finding fulfillment in other people. And then once they realize that it's not going to happen, then there's like a lot of weird psychological stuff that I won't get into that happens. And so they come to spirit. And so they start that's how I came to it. I'm just being honest with you. Like, that's exactly how I came to it. And then you start to work on this relationship with this higher you. And then it really doesn't matter in the end, even though you would like to have better relationships with people. You have a little bit more self-security in yourself because you have a good connection with yourself and your spirit. That's the idea anyways. But as I get older, it's really transitioned into just being curious about most of the stuff. Okay, but think about what he says here. Imagination, intention, and thought. All those last 3 steps, if he just did this stuff in his earth life, if he used his imagination, let's say he used his imagination to follow his dreams, And he imagined the outcome in his mind, just what we do. We create a visualization, set your intention, and then executed the plan of it. His life might have been different. He might not have wrote this book. Oh, cool. Thanks for the super sticker, Jen. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it. Thought packages, thinking in concepts. Let us discuss the term thought packages. Using this method can be helpful for those who are more secure and trust themselves, and it excludes much of what I just went through about exiting. No need to memorize any commands. For some people, no words or commands are necessary. You plan everything already now, so you know what to do. But you don't rehearse any commands. You simply have the concept of what you're going to do. And when the day comes, you just look up, spot the grid, focus on a hole, and then there it is. It's just this concept in your mind. You simply just know what to do. You might see a flash of a picture in your mind that you're on the other side of the grid. Or you might see nothing at all in your mind. Next, you're on the other side. Then let's say you want to go to the queen. You don't even need to think any words, just a quick thought, thinking about the concept of the queen, and you'll be with her. Your mind already knows what to do, and if you fall under this category, by all means, use it. I will personally use this method, but it is also the way many or most star beings communicate in the Ka. And he spells Ka, Khaa. They communicate in thought packages or in concepts. Then they send the entire package to the receiver in one go. No linear time involved, just bang, like a zip file that the receiver automatically will unzip. And people who have had OBEs describe how soul minds out there communicate this way. See, this is what keeps me interested in this book, because what he just said right there, I agree with, because I've had that experience too. It's when people talk about downloads and you get this bigger truth that has all these other little bitty truths kind of like in a zip file that represent the same thing. Yeah, I've had one of those a few times. So is that all we got? Is just a few votes? You guys don't follow directions very well. Genevieve and Michael are the only ones that voted. Of course, Karma's going to give this big, complicated answer. Where's the yes or no? I'll ask the question again. If this guy that wrote this book that's talking about escaping the Matrix, okay, if this guy had a happy life, Barefoot Hippies, what did you vote? I'm curious, too, to see what you voted. No. That's good. So that's 4 no's. Sorry, I missed you on that one. If this guy had a happy life, would he have written this book? Would he be talking about escaping the Matrix at all? Starseed Awakening. I just got here, dude. Okay, well, do you get the question? Maybe y'all can help him with that question. Starseed's cool. You said yes, basically. Okay, so we got 4 no's and 1 yes. 5 no's. They're scruffy. I totally agree, man. Like, this is What if you're wrong, man? What if you go through the grid? What if this alien's tricking you, or your inside info guy really wants you to go through the grid because there's something up there that's like a sick joke, or that's where they really suck your energy, and you're supposed to go through the light tunnel. And then you don't talk to your relatives that want to talk to you because you think they're fake and all this other stuff. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine just being this like untrusting? I want to do a whole show about trusting one day, if I can make it fun instead of deep and philosophical. But can you imagine just being this untrusting being like all the time, even after you're dead? That sounds like a nightmare to me. Maria says no. Aussie girl, no. If he were living the good life. Exactly, see? So what does that say about people that want to escape this place? Think about it. I mean, we only get a short time here anyways. It's very short. I still feel 18 years old. No, but Tiffany must have just got here. What's up, Tiffany? What's up? So he says, what to do if everything goes wrong? I seriously doubt any of the following will happen, but let's cover all angles, just in case everything goes to shit, right? Let's pretend you, for any reason, can't locate the grid and you feel stuck. Of course, the first thing to do is to think a command, for example, grid clarity now, and you'll see it and you'll be there. If you got a story to share, you should call in. I want to hear it, Genevieve. You know that. You better. Actually, let me move the phones over here so I can see them too. Sometimes it'll ring and I don't hear it, and then other times. There we go. Okay. So if everything goes wrong, and I'm going through the hole in the grid now, and swoosh, you're out of the matrix. Wait. Did I lose my spot when I was moving the phones? Dude, that sucks. Oh, here we go. And you feel stuck. Okay. The first thing to do is think in that command, but let's say you somehow end up in the tunnel and you go to the recycling center and the Between Lives world worker tells you this or that. And let's say they tell you that you need to reincarnate again. And all you need to do, once you have overcome your fear and uncertainties, and any time during the process, is to completely ignore whoever is in front of you and think inside yourself. Grid clarity now. Then you'll be in front of the grid. You'll see the holes, choose one at random, and think, I'm going through the hole in the grid now. And swoosh, you're out of the matrix. And whatever happens, and if you follow this advice, you will immediately transport yourself from the Between Lives area to the grid, even though you consciously don't even know where the grid is. The same thing applies in the following situation. Let's pretend you're communicating with a Between Lives area worker, and you say you don't want to follow their instructions to reincarnate or whatever it could be, because you opened a conversation with them, which you're not supposed to do, but let's say you did, according to Wes. And then they see that as a consent to manipulate you, so they try to convince you that you need to stay in the matrix. They may even tell you that exiting through the grid is not possible. And if you still insist, there's not much they can do. One of two things may happen. One, they tell you to do whatever you want and throw you out so you can exit through the grid. Or two, they tell you that you can do whatever you want, but they will leave you wherever you are. And you tell them you don't know where you are and how to find the grid. And they will tell you it's not their problem. And if you're panicking, you might not know what to do and give in to them and then beg them to recycle you. This sounds freaking nuts. However, all you need to do, wherever you are, and regardless of how confused you feel, is to say the command to yourself, grid clarity now. And you'll be there in less than a second. I think that's Genevieve, probably. Let me make sure I got you on the right line here. Are you on the air with us, Genevieve? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, everyone. Okay, hi. I just thought I had to share this story because it seems apropos for this evening. So let me gather my thoughts. Okay, so we're talking about dead relatives coming to get you. Mm. So I haven't died yet personally, so I don't know if it's true or not. But okay, we lost my mother-in-law 2 years ago now.
Sorry about that.
And she had cancer. And what happened was the day that she died, that she was dying, her sister-in-law, my aunt-in-law, was waking up in the morning, and her brother, who had passed on the year before, so my father-in-law, he stormed into her room. So he's dead. But like the way she tells the story is he stormed into the room calling for Linda, who was passing away that day. And she said it was just the strangest thing is my brother just stormed into the room calling for Linda.
That is strange.
So that's such an interesting part of the story because it's like this didn't even happen to somebody who was like we don't know what was happening with Linda because she had basically gone into a coma type of thing. So, but he was a parent to my aunt-in-law who doesn't really talk about that kind of thing because she's a scientist and you know that's kind of woo for her. But she said that it was so weird that he just came into the room like that, like she was having like a hypnagogic type vision, I think. It's the way she said it. So that's the first story. And then the other story that about dead relatives, that kind of makes me wonder if dead relatives do come back to us. There's two, actually. The one was my aunt who passed away, and she was a dressmaker, so she made wedding dresses and that type of thing. And about a month after she passed away, I had a dream about her. And she came to me in the dream, and she was a younger version of herself. And she was wearing she was showing me that she had made this new coat for herself, which I kind of think it was sort of symbolic of her being in a new state type of thing. So it was just sort of like, I'm happier now. I'm so I think our relatives do come back to us for sure. My grandfather, he had Parkinson's disease, and I dreamt about him, and he came back, and he was sitting upright, and he was doing like really well. He looked so much better. Like, so it wasn't like I was like imagining him to be so much better. They just came back to say goodbye, I think.
So it's not, so even what you're saying there is like Aaron Hoffman says, nope, thanks for the vote. See, man, these people get it. So to say that all of this stuff is fake when you die, your relatives and all these things that you experience are fake. How is that possible? Right. So it's like counterproductive. It's what's the word for it? I don't know the word.
Counterintuitive?
Counterintuitive. So, but to say that we're all connected consciously on some level, we know that. But then the people that we're connected with to the closest in our lives, those images that we see, even if we're projecting those images, we're projecting that part of us anyways. So how is it fake?
Well, I would rather have like somebody comforting around me than not know where I'm going next. Like, even if it's going back to the light and the slave trade or whatever. But I mean, to me, like the Book of the Dead, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, I've only read it very superficially. But one of the things they do talk about is that we escort our people who are dying. Like, we're there with them to talk to them, to help them see these states of clarity. I would rather have somebody talking me through it, right? Because it's a big thing, and I just think if you can, like, your imagination can create anything in the astral. Well, wow, if you're scared, what are you going to think? The most horrific things, and you're going to go right down to where you don't want to go. Yeah, and even the Monroe Institute has helped people pass through. Like, I don't know if you remember when we did that show where the kid was in that shipwreck and he was stuck kind of there, still afraid. And they were helping him. They let him know that he was going to be okay. And he said, I can see my mom and my dad and stuff. And he's like, go on and go to them. Like, he was stuck between worlds, like. Right. And I just wanted to say that because, like, it was such a reinforcement of, like, if it had been anybody else, like, she's so pragmatic about things. Like, it just would surprise me. She wouldn't just come up and say stuff like that. She's not into any of that stuff at all. She's not even religious. She is a little bit, but she's not, like, she doesn't talk about anything woo. So the fact that she had that story to me was a very good story, because she just wasn't the kind of person to
Talk
tell
about
lies
those
about
kind of
stuff
things.
or make it up. So I should go, because you're working hard on this. But yeah, I just wanted to share that, and thank you so much.
No, thanks for calling in and kind of verifying a couple of things with us there. It's very interesting. Thanks, Genevieve. Thank
you. Have a good night. We'll talk through the chat.
All right.
Bye-bye.
She's got a point, though. Like, I don't, even if I'm going probably through the light tunnel, call me crazy, but I'm going through the tunnel. Whatever. I think we'll all kind of know what to do, But he's saying once again in here that to avoid any bad scenario when you die, don't talk to anybody. Avoid people at all cost. Do not communicate with anyone in the astral on your way out. And if someone communicates with you, ignore them and just execute your commands. The only thing the overlords and the elite see in this, well, he says, I've given you some scenarios from the top of my head, but the bottom line is that you're in control of your own mind. And the only thing the overlords, the elite, or anyone else can do to control you is to let them get access to your mind and manipulate and control it. If you refuse to let them do that and put up a firm boundary, there is absolutely nothing they can do. I would say this too, Wes, if you did that in your life earlier, you might have realized that there's not so many overlords and elite that are out to get you. They're not really out to get you. It's just like, it's all money on the earth, man. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of people that want power and money, and they do try to manipulate you. And if you let them, then, that's your fault. I mean, I'm just saying, it doesn't make everything so dramatic. And I'm not agreeing with it at all. I'm just saying that's mainly what's running the world here, is just money and power. Let's get real. So break the mind control on the programming, and you're free to do whatever you want. They have no power over you. The same goes for narcissistic relationships. Oh, we didn't even make it to 3-4 pages before you brought this up again. The reason narcissists can control us is because we don't say no. Say no to abusive people without hesitation, and there is nothing they can do. They will leave you alone. When I grew up in the 80s, it was just say no to drugs. And in the 90s, I think it was just say no to school itself. And then 2000s, it's whatever. Now it's the past 10 years is the war on narcissism. So you got all these narcissists telling everybody that they're narcissistic victims. This still annoys me even after this. I'm going to ignore it, though. This is a question many people have asked me. What can we expect in Orion? How will our lives be better there? I will use what I wrote in the West Penre papers, and I also dug into my archives to see if I could get additional information. We who leave the Matrix one by one will already be creator gods, as I have explained. But we never graduated from Tiamat. Instead, the experiment was destroyed less than midway through. Although we are potentially full-fledged creator gods, we can't go from the Matrix to creating galaxies. That would be too much of a leap. I was told, and he won't tell us who's telling him this stuff, by the way, but I was told there are universities in Orion where souls can study what they want or need to study, and different star systems are set up with different universities on different topics. So you can pick one and learn more on a subject. They have like Hogwarts in Matrix Land in Orion. But you don't even need to be a creator god, at least not to begin with. Some might want to browse around the universe and explore, which is also something that you can do. You can make friends with Ka beings, Khaa. Create together with other creator gods or alone. If we want to work as creator gods, we learn over time and get more and more skilled. We learn how to best create with our minds and manifest our creations in the Ka, making it as real as anything created with technology. That's how Tiamat was created, using many creator gods in the process, all being experts in their field. The only reason I can see why regular soul minds did not get spirits attached to begin with was because the queen wanted soul minds to develop first and gain the responsibility needed to become a creator god. It became an evolutionary thing. I think that makes a lot of sense, Wes. I think you're making this up because it makes sense to you. And you're blaming it on an insider that you can't tell us who it is. Produce the insider, and I will come out and say, not that I matter at all, but if you did, I would say, man, I was totally wrong. I've got an insider that tells me things. You will learn to communicate in concept. It will apparently come automatically after a while. You will set up invisible boundaries for yourself so other star beings can't read every thought you think. First, you might be surprised when someone tries to talk to you and you both lack a physical body. Suddenly, an entire concept comes into your mind. See thought packages above. It's not linear. There are no words, only pictures and a concept. The star being communicates their entire message at once for you to receive. Then you learn to do the same back to them. It's instant and includes no time-consuming linear thoughts. This is being done on Earth, too. There are few people who can receive thought packages from entities in the astral. They call it data dumping. One such person is Ashiyana Diane, and another person calls himself the Galactic Historian. I know who that dude is, the Galactic Historian. They both spread similar information, so I would suspect that they have the same source, called the Guardian Alliance, and Mrs. Deanne's books and lectures. You will always think yourself to your destination, and once you know where to go, you'll travel on the cosmic highways or the spider web of energy currents and spiritual cosmic waves. Spiritual cosmic waves that will take you to where you need to go in no time. This is what is called nano travel. Therefore, there are no long distances to overcome, and everything is just a thought away. Sometimes you may need a star map to get an overview of where you want to go, but such maps are available. Trade is common in the Ka and in the lower Ka dimensions. Star beings or races travel between stars and constellations on these cosmic highways and trade goods. This is before the souls attain spirit enough to create with their minds and can manifest what they need. Although there are wars and conflicts in some regions of the Ka, again, in the lower regions, it's not as common as it might have sounded in this book. We just happen to be in a zone, Sector 9, where all these unfortunate things happened. Did you guys get that? We're in Sector 9. Do you think this guy was we should do another vote. Do you think Wes Penre was a Trekkie or a Star Wars guy? I'm going to say Trekkie. We just happened to be in Zone Sector 9 where all these unfortunate things happened. And we ended up in the middle of a huge family feud. In the Ka, we are free, and we don't need to participate in any conflicts unless we absolutely want to. So a bigger question would be, if if all of this is true, and we go to Orion, and that's really where heaven is, do we keep all of our memories? Do we forget who we are? I'm struggling with the queen thing. Me too. I think he's a Trekkie for sure. What's up, Georgiana? I don't think, honestly, that whatever created this thing, I got a feeling it's not it's not a man or a woman or a male or female figure. It's probably some kind of androgynous being or just this swirl of energy, like a black hole or something. I don't know. I just don't think it's a queen or a king or a god man or a god woman. That's just our brains doing this stuff. I want to believe in some of the stuff. Some of the stuff what he's saying is true. Well, I don't know it to be true, so I'm not going to, I retract that. But what he's talking about the communicating in packets, that happens in Monroe's books too. Once he gets to astral traveling enough, and if you get on into his second book, he does run into entities that don't have bodies, and they call these packages that they communicate to each other rotes. He calls them rotes. He has like a language. It's almost like a language key in his second book. So he calls them rotes. So he'll talk about him handing another rote to a being in the astral realm. And it's like a zip file of all this information that you can understand just instantly. But keep in mind, too, that we know also that Wes has read and studied most of the books that we have. And he's doing, in my opinion, exactly what we all do. So we all go out and we take in as much information as possible. And then we put this reality of a truth that we don't exactly know for certain, but we think or we intuitively feel that this is probably the truth. And then some people go out and say, I think this is what's happening, but I don't know for certain. And then other people go out and write books around it, about it, and say they have insiders that told them so. That's my, that's my opinion. It's very asshole-ish of me to say that, but I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, though. So that's kind of ironic that I'm saying that. I could be totally wrong. I could be assuming. It just kind of feels like that's what's going on here. That's all I'm saying. All right, so we're at the top of the hour. We got to take a radio station break. Jesus, this night's flying by quick. I don't know if we'll finish this book tonight, but thank you guys again, all of you that have supported or donated. Get a t-shirt, go to the Fringe FM. I know the site was down today for a little bit, but it's back up. Also, support Patrick's GoFundMe. Just go to GoFundMe and put in Pacho's name. Don't put in Pacho. Put in Patrick Newland, and you'll find him there. Help him out. Him and his partner got in a little trouble on the ski slopes, and they got hurt, and they need your help. And that's what we're here to do. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Stay with us.
Look straight at the speaker and listen with a sparkle in your eye, as though you might be thinking, gee, this is the most wonderful thing I ever heard in all my life.
This is country music singer and void walker Jason Benoit, and when I need my fix on the world of magic and the capabilities of the human consciousness, I listen to Joe Roop right here on Lighting the Void Radio.
I'm 54. So basically, it's too late to start saving for retirement, right?
Not right. Starting to save, even in your 50s, can really make a difference.
Well, right now, saving seems hard to wrap my head around. Plus, with the way this year's been going...
Hey, listen, it's okay. You still got this. Just go to aceyourretirement.org. It's an online tool from AARP that can help you get your retirement savings on track no matter your age. It's free and only takes about 3 minutes.
I like 3 minutes.
Yeah, at aceyourretirement.org, you'll chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach. Just answer a few questions and you'll get a personalized plan and tips to help boost your retirement savings. Tips that are easy to understand and tailored to your lifestyle.
I like that too.
Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back. Just head to aceyourretirement.org and make your plan to start saving for retirement.
Thanks.
That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
This is Malorcas45, fan of the Fridge FM, challenging everyone to open their mind's eye. Listen to Lighting the Void with Joe Roop to gain precision for your third eye vision.
Bumper stickers are a fun side hustle with low-cost investment that has built-in advertising to attract local customers in parking lots, rallies, gatherings, conventions, venues, and more. You could potentially sell these bumper stickers on consignment to local businesses, tattoo parlors, head shops, or any other independently owned store that might gear toward the fringe. Bumper stickers are great gift-giving ideas for friends and family. Also, a way to wake up your fellow travelers on the path without having to waste energy in tiresome debates. No car? No problem. Bumper stickers will stick to just about anything with a semi-smooth surface. Go to www.justbsme.com and get your bumper stickers today.
Hey, this is No Way Jose, a Northern California Piscean stuck in the Arizona desert. I'm a void walker, and I got the shoes to prove it. So what do I do when my soul yearns to delve deep into the realm of the unknown? I aim my satellite straight into the night sky and catch a smooth ride on the KTLK-DB radio waves. I tune into Lighting the Void with Joe Roop on the Fringe FM.
Joe, Lighting the Void is the best show on the planet. This is Barney, your friend from Facebook. Thank you and all the crew for all you do. Namaste, my friend.
This is Macon from the foothills of North Carolina, and I am a void walker.
G'day, void walkers. This is Lily from down under Australia. The world may be small, the enigma is greater. So let your curiosity take you for a journey with Joe Root.
Hey, this is V, coming in from Central Maryland, and I am a void walker.
This is Kevin Doherty, a beginner void walker. I'm from Vancouver, BC. I know a little about a lot, and as Leonard Skinner said, I guess the rest. I learned a lot from Mr. Root on the show, and I heard it from the beginning. I knew right then he was going to be a new art pal. Thanks for all your shows, and keep it up.
Hey, this is Derek from Mass, a.k.a. the Night Stalker, and I'm a void walker.
This is Mark from Chicago, and I walk the void to ascertain what is consciousness.
My name is Jared Johnson, and I'm from Humboldt County, California. I do not know all of the answers to the questions about reality. I do not claim to know the ultimate truth about life. I seek that which has been made hidden as a part of a family of explorers of consciousness. I'm a void walker. Thanks, Joe Root.
I like to listen to Lighting the Void because of the guests, the content, and the host, Joe Root. He's smart, he's intelligent, and he seems to ask the questions that we all have on our mind. We're all searching for the truth, and Joe helps us get closer to it. I love this show. I love this show. I love this show. Lighting the Void.
My feet are to the floor. I always thought we would get dancing.
All right, so we're back here on Lighting the Void, live on the Fringe FM. It's a little after 10 o'clock here on this Thursday night, May the 2nd. And make sure you go to the Fringe FM, show us your support, grab a t-shirt. You can join the Supporters Club for only $2, get access to 900-something episodes now. I think we're at 900. No ads, no nothing, just talk. A little bit of music, but mostly talk, and some extra content there on Spreaker too. And yeah, I don't do promos very well. It's like a radio thing. You read all the radio books, and they tell you, make sure you hit the promos, say this stuff over and over and over again. But it's like, imagine doing. I love radio, but I could never do old school radio. The time is this, and the weather. It's windy outside and raining. Like nobody gives a damn about the wind. Just tell us if it's raining or not. So we're reading the Wes Penre's text tonight. The text that talks about how we're trapped in a matrix and we need to escape from the grid or to the grid to go to Orion, to this queen. Like I said, basically it's kind of like a tricked by the light, different story. So far, there's no proof that any of this is true. There are only synchronicities to information that we've read, and then there's an end story that he's put on here that he said he got from something that he won't tell us what it is. I hate to be so condescending about it, but it gets frustrating after a while. It's kind of like, getting like listening to a story, but when you get to the climax, it's like when The Sopranos ended. The most important part of the information is gone, or it's non-existent. So when we left off, we were at the spot talking about, do we recover all of our memories in Orion? So when we get to this place, if we manage not to go to the light, not to go to the tunnel, and we go through the hole in the grid, and we leave this hole, and we find ourselves in the queendom of Orion, and we become one with the queen in Orion, which Genevieve in the chat says, I got a problem with this whole queenie thing. Do we keep our memories, or do we forget? That's a good question. So he says that the time on Earth that we have here, and particularly in this construct, has been very traumatic and confusing. Our soul has been split into many units and recycled into different times, and simultaneously by inserting them vertically into various time periods. And these souls become irrelevant for you to begin with after you've exited. And when these splinters are born somewhere, they have complete amnesia, and they build a personality completely different from yours because of their environmental circumstances. Then, when they die, they get recycled again and will become even more foreign to you. We might doubt we will retain the memories of these soul splinters, now being their own personalities with their own evolution and memories. However, if they are your soul splinters, they belong to your 3UC, which is your 3 being, the part of you, he says, you're a 3-fold being, which means they share the same spirit body. So one day they will be retrieved. And Orion Contact, here we go, his insider. And Orion Contact once told me the Queen will help us with these things, but it was not further explained. What may be of more immediate interest, however, is your own ancestral line or your genetic line and your soul memories from many thousands of lifetimes when you were recycled on Earth. Having a new experience each time, this is still your direct soul line and ancestral line, which are your cumulative experiences on Earth. And in the Matrix, we forget all the past lives and only remember the current life. And even that we barely remember because of all the trauma we have been subjected to. Therefore, what happens when you leave the Matrix? Well, will you start remembering your previous lives and life experiences, both as a 3UC and genetically? I have learned that we do. You will remember, and all these many, many experiences over time will now be in your memory bank. Some have asked me if that won't be overwhelming because there can be a lot of traumas involved which flood us if we get to know it instantaneously. But not so. They will stay with us as memories and experiences that we can draw from when we are operating in the ka. I would probably compare them with your own memories in this lifetime. Let's say you pull up a memory when you fell, hurt your knee. In Orion, you will remember this, but it's just a memory. It does not affect you traumatically or flash back into your memory bank as post-traumatic stress. Another question I have received is whether we keep our personality in the ka. Yes, and if you exit as John Smith after this incarnation, you will still think like John Smith when you enter the ka. You will keep the same personality with your strengths and your flaws, your memories and your experiences, your fears and your courage. However, after you have regained all the memories from other lifetimes, I would imagine that your personality will change. And with all those experiences in mind, a person probably changes quite a lot, which of course is not a bad thing. You may become wiser in the process. We change with experience. This is a lot. So, are there other languages in Orion? When we are non-physical beings, which we will be when we exit the Matrix, we can't talk, of course, so we communicate with thoughts, and soon enough, we'll send thought packages between each other and between us and other beings in the ka. On Tiamat, we had our own verbal language, which was the Aryan language. We were physical and spiritual on a physical spirit world, even though it was all in the ka and not in the 3D. Over time, I've shared some of the Aryan language I learned during the West Penre paper sessions from having communicated with Orion, and a few examples have also been shared in this book. The languages in Orion, however, are different and in different constructs. Still, there appears to be a common Aryan language, similar to the English language being the most commonly used language on Earth between nations. Oh, of course. It's going to be an English. This guy stresses me out. He does. He stresses me out. This guy, this is like one of those guys you can't take to a party because he would never get on the dance floor, probably. He would never have more than one beer. Sorry, I got tics. Thoughts, on the other hand, need no language and are universal. And in the ka, thoughts become concepts, not language-based, as we discussed. The next part of this chapter, to add on to that, is tricked into false grids. Okay, so now there's false grids too. Come on, man. We need to have a trust session. Do you think Wes ever did those trust falls in therapy and group therapy? You have to trust that we're going to catch you. Just fall backwards. Enki has often been called a trickster god in ancient texts. So we can be sure we are not lured. I think lured is the redneck version. Lured into a false grid, which will take us to the recycling center. So this is a good question, but if following the instructions in this book and in Guy's handout, you can't be tricked. Both you and I know what we want. We want to go through the grid. I didn't say I wanted to go through the grid. You're just assuming that. See what you're doing? You're manipulating me right there. That's an old car salesman trick you just did there, Wes. Both you and I know what we want. We want to go through the grid so we can exit the Matrix and get back to Orion. We know that, and we know we don't want to go through a false grid if something such as that would appear. It's all about intention. You can't go to Orion through a false grid or a false light because it's not part of your intention. This means you don't need to be concerned. Your intention where you want to go will lead you the right way. Discard the thought that it could go wrong. The exit procedure is actually very simple. You spot the grid in the holes, choose a hole, set your firm intention, and think yourself through the hole. Everything else is irrelevant. I was going to say a bad bedroom joke there, but I'm not in the mood tonight. If you would have used all of this intention that you're talking about now in your earth life, I don't think you'd be this upset. If you follow the instructions in this chapter, I know we will see each other on the other side. And remember, work on your fears and doubts and get rid of attachments. Did anybody see how ironic that whole statement is right there? In the next chapter, we're going to talk about how to heal so we can enter Orion with the best possible versions of ourselves. So chapter 16 is titled Healing from Cosmic Abuse. Let's go to the chat. I'm starting to get lonely out here, man. Let's see. Michael says, I was thinking if I'm back as a new life or baby, does part of the old me stay behind to greet them and comfort them? That's just strange to think about. It takes 100 years of years to reincarnate. How do you know that? Tell me how you know that. Yes, I think it's your higher self. This is why you have to listen to your spirit to know if they really are your true loved ones so you can't get tricked. I agree with that, Karma. Like, I think you would know in your heart, you know. I get vibes with people on earth as soon as I meet them. Why would I not have, of course, I haven't always trusted them. Sometimes you're like, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe I can change this person. Here's the thing about trust. I'm going to go just real quick with you on this. Like, if you have to trust what people show you, if he trusted what people showed him and set all these boundaries that he's trying to tell us to set in his earth life, he would have become a happier person. Like if you attract what you are, you guys know this, right? Like attracts like, period. Your vibration attracts the same thing, always. So if you're lonely and desperate and you feel unworthy, you're going to attract lonely and desperate and unworthy people. A lot of times, that doesn't mean you have the same personality, though. So an empath could be a lonely, desperate person and that attracts a lonely, desperate narcissist, because it's very weird how things happen. Like attracts like, but we also need two opposites to attract to each other. And this is what happens. That comes together. And the 2-in-1 happens because that's a divine mystery on this earth. So in a sense, even these abusive, empathic, narcissistic relationships that we go through on earth are still a part of love and still a part of the process. It's still a part of the growing. So once you change and then you become a self-loving person with boundaries, but hopefully you're still a loving person. You're not carrying loads of past trauma with you and swinging the pendulum on to the next person that you're with. Hopefully you love yourself enough to be like, I'm okay. I'm happy. Then you'll meet somebody that's like, I'm okay and I'm happy. But there will be something opposite about them, more than likely, that will attract you together. Usually it's man or woman, or masculine person, feminine person. And then there are other things. But the deepest parts of your unconscious, the deepest issues, are the things that you'll attract. You probably deal with them in different ways. So that's how it works. The more fulfilled and happier you become, the more you attract it in your life. This is the thing. Like, this idea, and we'll read this Healing from Cosmic Abuse. We got plenty of time. But in my opinion, this is the thing that we learn. Instead of waiting till the end of life, and then we have all this untrust, and then go, okay, when I die, I'm going to learn to trust myself. This is what he's learned, to trust himself only, even after he's dead. That's pretty sad. But you should just trust what people show you. Just like if you meet a new person, whether it's friend, colleague, or potential partner or whatever, they always show you who they are right then and there. And we call them red flags now. It's all over the internet, right? But we don't listen to those red flags. So we think we can change them, or what we're really doing is we're projecting our untrust of our own selves and our insecurities onto this red flag. because we don't trust us and we don't trust what we're seeing. And we have a problem with that. For sure. Trusting what we see that's right in front of us, right? And then later when it comes out, like if, say, a person is, say a person has a temper and they're mean and they're kind to everybody, but every now and then when you first met them, they have a temper, because I'm one of those people. I'm kind to everybody. But if I get to know you personally and I start getting a deeper relationship with you, I have the tendency, if I feel disrespected, I get a little temperamental, right? If a person trusts themselves, as soon as they see that, they'll say, okay, this person has a temper. Just trust it. But it's not till later, till you went through all the red flags and time again that you're pissed off, resentful, all kinds of stuff, and you're traumatized when it was right there in front of you. You saw it. You know it was there. Come on now. Let's see. Looks like we have a 918 area code on the air. Who are we speaking with?
Hello.
What's up? Who are we speaking with?
Steven.
What's up, Steven? How can I help you? It's like customer service. How
I
can I help
got my road tonight at 8:05 p.m. It's called God's Wrath.
God's Wrath?
God's Wrath will be unmatched. Skeletons and caskets burnt to ashes to the foundation stones. Fist of God coming down to smash you. This prophet sent by God announced for 33 years the final countdown. No one will pick up the Bible and put the remote down. Egotistical puppets dressed up for the demon show. Burning balls of sulfur on the schedule to rain down a second time, burning holes through souls and minds. Mortal clay puppets set free, but not without rules and laws, and free will turned your backs on God. Walking in hate, a date with death, burning with sin. 10 commandments were the standard to keep you holy. Welcome to Fire Lake. Losers roll with Lucifer, known by witches as Satan. Same evil dragon responsible for twisted imaginations. With all his lies has blinded this nation, divided by his political mind assassins. They told you the truth was lies, and now they own your asses. You voted for this. I didn't. All infantile order followers need to grow up and think for yourself, kids.
I like it.
Thanks for letting me call. Yeah, I've been writing songs for 33 years. Since
I'm definitely with you on the order followers.
1991, whenever I began to prophesy.
Do you think you're a prophet?
I prophesied Jacob. Oh, I know for a fact I am. I prophesied live on Caravan to Midnight. Told him for 2 years I was going to prophesy the death of a Rothschild. On February 23rd, on my birthday, this is what I said 3 days before he died. Sometimes I press my ear to the ground to hear the sounds of hell. I just heard another Rothschild screaming. Yeah, true story.
Nice.
So, yeah, I was just calling to prove to everyone listening, the God of all creation, he gave 10 holy commandments to protect all of you from hurting each other, lying, stealing, killing, hating. The punishment, there is an eternal lake of fire, I promise. I pray to God you people bow and repent or you're going in.
You're all going to burn in hell. You're all going to burn in hell, man. You should put that on a billboard, dude. I like your passion and I like your belief, but I think that you're already causing a lake of fire. You don't have to follow 10 commandments to not be a bastard. All you got to do is, I like how he hung up. Doesn't really want to have a conversation, just want to make his point and move on. But that's kind of how prophets work, too. If you read the Bible, most prophets are like that. They don't start out as really good people. They're kind of jerks, too, in the Bible. Read the stories of the prophets. They're all assholes. But I'm totally with the guy on the order followers. He's got a point there. Like, well, that's a whole other subject I don't want to get into. People that just say yes and to everything and, well, this is the way it is. I can't do it. I'm with him on that one. All right. Way to express yourself however you want to. Let's get back to this shit. All right. So the healing from cosmic abuse. the Borden, he says, R. Borden of the LBGC, the doctor scientist I connected within the WPP, first level of learning, said it. The Palladian said it, and a source from Orion said it. The star races in the Ka are afraid of us in the shape humankind is right now, and they don't currently want us out in the Ka. Do you think, see, to me, I'm just saying, to me, even before this guy called in, when I was talking about trusting yourself, you have to trust what you see, right? So I'll give you an example, because this whole past chapter was about untrusting, right? So if you come up to a person and they lie, and they say, "Hey, I'm a liar. I have a problem with lying." Well, whatever. It doesn't bother you. You know they're a good person deep down. Whatever. They cheat. They steal, like what this guy was talking about. They do all these things, and more than likely, you've witnessed this. Your consciousness, especially your unconscious, has witnessed this. You've witnessed it. But you're a good person, and you really care about people, and you really are desperate for love and relationships or friendships or a good job or whatever it is you're trying to get. So you go along with it, and you ignore all the red flags, right? And then, like I said, later, and I think this is what happened to this author, later, you just went through cycle after cycle with these things, and then you start to become resentful and pissed off and angry. I've been there. That's the only reason why I'm saying it. When you should have just trusted yourself to begin with. You could have told that person, "Hey, look, I think your intentions are really good. I think you're a really good person. You know, none of us are perfect, but I don't think our values line up. And yes, it's scary because you don't trust yourself, and you don't trust your heart, and you don't trust goodness enough that you might find another person that's just as cool, but with better values or whatever." So now you're all pissed off. You spent all this time with all these friends, partners, and colleagues and all this other stuff. And now you're writing books projecting how pissed off you are about narcissists and liars and everything. And now you just want to leave the earth because you've been taken advantage of, because people stomped all over your little heart. Because you weren't assertive enough in the beginning. You didn't trust yourself enough in the beginning. And even though, this is why I have more respect for guys that like that called in, even though a lot of what he's saying is completely asinine to me. He believes it. He trusts himself. You can tell. Maybe to a point that's way out there, but I think you get more done in this earth if you trust yourself. Because if you learn to trust yourself, whether you're completely full of shit or not, you'll grow, and then you'll learn to have a better life. And you don't have to worry about like 10 commandments or what happens after you die or any of this other shit, as long as you treat other people the way you want to be treated. So when I told you guys before that there's this movement of Christians that do not like any of this field, and they either flail in this field, or they always talk about some conspiracy that's happening behind the scenes. I wasn't playing. It's a very, very big niche. And if I wanted to have a super successful podcast and make a ton of money and become super successful, I would forget about all of you, and I would just validate those people. And they would buy all my products and hand me money, hand over fist. Don't you see the irony in that, though? All right. So I just don't have respect for like any of this. Any of this. I hate to even say this, I would almost rather be flat out lied to than have someone tell me a 90% truth and cover up the most 10% important thing that I need to know and not tell me. You get what I'm saying? There's another pterodactyl in here. And so now I have a friend like you that's listening to these shows. and he's on the last legs of his life. At least he thinks he is. But we got him listening to Dispenza tapes and all kinds of stuff. His attitude's changing for the positive. This thing is trying to attack me. And, you know, if somebody is not telling the truth about this or validating all this stuff or projecting their emotions through these stories, they don't realize the effect of this. They're affecting people that read it. Just like Gareth. He contacted us a long time ago, and he said, I read these books and they scared me, and it pissed me off. So now I'm reading 16, Healing from Cosmic Abuse. So as you can see, I have a morbid sense of being. I'll go straight at stuff that pisses me off because I want to know why. So this R. Borden of LBGC, the doctor scientist I connected with, and the papers, the first level of learning, said it was the Palladians said this, and a source from Orion said the star races in the Ka are afraid of us in the shape humankind is right now, and they don't currently want us out in the Ka. The dangerous human soul group. There was a time not too many Earth years ago when some star races living in our vicinity of Sector 9, our sector of the Milky Way galaxy, went to the Queen and protested about the Orion plan to somehow help setting humankind free. And I'm just telling you, in the back of my head, BS, BS, BS. These star races feared for their lives and existence if we were to enter the Ka as an entire soul group. They were also afraid we would spread out in the universe and create havoc, degrading the spirit worlds and the spirit universe. The Queen heard them out, and she heard my source out, and it was concluded that these star races were correct. And if humankind is to be released, it must be done in a sophisticated way. But how? If Orion would show up, whose side would humankind be on? A star race appears on Earth, and the governments of the Earth would tell their people, we must unite in a worldwide effort so we all can get together and defeat this hostile source. This is what President... Oh my God. This is what President Ronald Reagan warned about in the 1980s, and that's why many alien movies and TV series have been all about over the decades. Ronald Reagan knew about these people. An Orion source has studied the human soul group for many years now, and he is very dismayed, he said to me. And this is the quote from his Orion source. We have to save what we can be saved from this construct, not referring to me, but to Orion. When he told me about the grid, he also conveyed that this was the escape, and currently the only escape. I'm starting to feel psychologically raped right now. Can you imagine? It's kind of like any cult, or let's say like Scientology. You get in it and it changes your life, and there's like all these truths that you learn, and you learn all this like esoteric and deep psychological stuff. It's not till you get to the end of the book when the crazy shit comes out, you know. Once I understood the concept of this, I told him I can go out and tell people about it, and perhaps many people will react positively. But he didn't say much more about it, but asked me to go ahead. And apparently, one, but not the only reason for him to come here, was to check the status of this experiment. And he realized that at this time, humankind could not be set free. We had become just like Enki, but worse in a sense. Enki and his cohorts have no creative powers left, but we do. It's only our Homo sapien bodies that keeps us limited to the 5 senses and the 4% universe. We incarnate into these meat bodies, and because when doing so, we can't use our full capacity, so we solve problems quite primitively, which leads to violence, wars, and abuse. And our soul fires are in human cells. Our soul fires are in the human cells, but only 4 to 5% are activated in an average human. The rest is dormant, like junk DNA, as science erroneously calls this junk DNA. But those who wake up start using more of their switched off DNA. Because we only use so little of our capacity, we are amnesiac to the rest, and we feel powerless in our lives. This is the degree to which the overlords need to reduce us for them not to be threatened by us. They fear us because they know what we can do when fully activated. They wouldn't stand a chance against us. The only weapon against the invaders is to wake up and reclaim ownership of our hijacked minds. Can you believe, when you look at humankind in its entirety, if we were all set free in Orion to create as creator gods? What if I told you, Wes, that we can do that now on Earth? We don't have to leave the Earth. We don't have to leave the Earth to be creator gods. We can all do that now. Even your Bible told you that. But you only want to agree with the stuff in the Bible that agrees with you. The rest of it that you don't like or that don't make sense, you just throw out. You know, like the incest, the murder, the rape, or the texts that don't make sense at all. Or, you know, the all of the verses that correspond directly to the occult, astrology, and things like that. That's the stuff you didn't hear about in your Sunday morning pew. They didn't tell you because they don't know either. Or they do, that they learned about it in theology school, and they just didn't want to talk to you about it for some reason. Jesus. This is not humanity's fault per se, but the fact remains. There would be millions, perhaps billions of spirited souls creating chaos and catastrophes in the Ka. And in some sense, that would be worse than letting the overlords loose because of our ignorance and inverted way of thinking. The problem is our programming. It's so easy to program a human who's got amnesia. It takes 21 to 30 days to change a certain behavior in a person. This is true, roughly. This is why the media repeats the same news all the time. It's programming. I'm not the one saying this. It's mainstream psychology. The programming techniques have been polished by psychologists and psychiatrists, and after having studied the horrendous research conducted on Nazi concentration camp prisoners by physicians and anthropologist Joseph Mengele, I talked to you guys about that too. This is true. And by other Nazi doctors working in the camps, but much of the mind control the elite have used is built on much older knowledge. The Nazis learned firsthand from experimenting on people in the camps, particularly children, and then virtually all countries are now using the result of these techniques on their own citizens. This is true as well. I had a couple of shows about this called the mind virus. It's employed on a global scale with the purpose to globally affect us and control us. Now, put this into perspective. See how all of this part was true? Now here comes his truth. You ready? Enki has known how to program humans since he learned how to use Orion technology. In this matrix, we have been programmed for about 9,600 years. Put that in perspective that it takes 30 days to program somebody to incorporate a certain pattern. Then ponder, how many genuine thoughts do humans have and how much is programming? We are strictly following Enki's introjects and our shared fantasy with him, and we don't know it. That's a sobering thought. If we go to Orion in that shape, we can only imagine what we would possibly create there, not knowing any better. And I must say I agree with those star races. We humans have the same potential to create as the queen herself. If that is used destructively, do I need to say more? We bring our current personality into the Ka, good and bad. So he's kind of agreeing with me that we could change things on the earth, but then again, he doesn't trust humans. So it's back to the Queenie story and Enki and all this other stuff. Let me tell this caller and other people that if you really studied the Bible as much as you say you studied it, you would realize that all those stories are happening inside of you. That's why there's codes in it. That's why there's astrological correspondences. That's why there's names and things like that that don't make sense. That's why there's murder, rape, and incest and all kinds of things that even, you know, if you read Jacob, they all had sex with each other and in the family and all kinds of stuff. And that started the 12 tribes of Israel. But to make that story make sense, it has to be some kind of esoteric thing that's happening inside of you, because surely God wouldn't allow that, would he? That's the stuff you're supposed to look into. That's why they're called dark sayings. That's why in Isaiah he says, I will give you treasures in hidden places so that you will know that I am God. Dark treasures and secrets in hidden places. He's so obsessed on everybody going to heaven or hell. And like the Pharisees, like the Bible tells you, you're creating the hell that we live in. The only reason why the Rothschilds have power is because you gave them power. Repentance and redemption. So Wes says, what can we do about this? The answer is to take responsibility for our minds for the first time in 9,000 years. You think? Unfortunately, the way things have developed here on Earth, we can no longer take responsibility as a soul group, which was the original purpose. Instead, we need to take responsibility one by one as individuals. The first step for any human is to realize that something is awfully wrong with this world. Thanks, Wes. I didn't know that. Someone is lying to us. We're all lying to each other. Remember that. It's not always some being. I mean, we lie to each other. And we are being manipulated by someone. But who? Who's this they? Well, people have the entire internet to look for information and to connect the dots. A terrifying truth will emerge. We are being lied to by our politicians. Did you guys really need the internet to know that politicians were lying to you? There are secret societies who rule the world, and we are slaves to an elite who doesn't have our best interest in mind. Then we start learning about the Matrix. You mean through the movie The Matrix? Because I don't think any of you knew about the Matrix until you actually watched The Matrix. The gods, the overlords, maybe first from Zachariah Stitchin, and then we go from there. Eventually, we understand that this entire construct is a lie, a realm of death. Damn. That's what he's saying. All of life is a lie, and this is a realm of death. Isn't that crazy? Do you see the birds and the bees and the rabbits and the deer and the bears and the fishies and all these things bitching about birth, death, and resurrection? Do you see them complaining one bit? The trees, maybe? You're just afraid of death. You're afraid of death. That's what he should title this book. I had a shitty time on earth, and I'm afraid of death and of being alone, and I want to be happy. The end. Yep. You don't have to say that you contacted aliens, man. I seen The Matrix too. Eventually, we understand that this entire construct is a lie, a realm of death. First, we hope to be able to save the Matrix until we realize that it's not salvageable. And it's not our home to begin with. And hopefully, the seekers find the information about the grid. There is a way out. Thank goodness. And when this happens, we're no longer a part of this world. We usually want to have as little as possible to do with it, and we want to exit and go to Orion, the greater universe, which is our true home. And at this stage, we start popping out of our codependency with Inky and the Syrian Alliance. We are no longer part of Inky's shared fantasy, and we incrementally regain control over our thoughts and our minds. But I would ask, you gain control over your thoughts and your minds through the life that you lived through all of the misery stuff that you talk about, but you still have the movie The Matrix, Zachariah Stitchin, and some unknown stuff about lots of secret societies that you don't know that scare you. And that's what's controlling your mind. More than likely. Are we getting glitches? Yeah, I think we're getting glitches. Everybody still there? Go to a positive matrix. Let's go to the chat. I think there's a lot of wisdom in the Bible, and I do think it is true that there is nothing new under the sun. Yeah, well, it's not just the Bible that tells you this stuff. All of the books that talk about the virgin births that go back thousands of years, even before the Bible, all of the books that talk about the earth, the moon, and the sun, and the stars, all of the books that talk about birth, death, and resurrection, they're all telling the same story. And even when you dig deeper into that, you can see the geometrical and numerical codes inside of them. And then you start realizing, oh, all of these stories and nursery rhymes are lessons that are energies that are going on inside of me. Even the names of all these characters in the stories, from Egypt to whatever, are inside of me. That's why it doesn't make sense to people that actually do have a mind. And they're like, oh, the literal shit don't make sense. We even went back in history and tried to dig up Solomon and David and find proof of all this stuff, and they couldn't. They couldn't. They didn't. And there was a crisis time during our timeline, in Rome, when all of the pagans and the Gnostics and the 3 or 4 different types of Christian groups and the Muslims, and they all started warring each other and killing each other. And somebody came along, some council came along and decided to put it all together in a story and make it the newer religion, which we call Christianity here in the West. And it's full of pagan and Gnosticism and Christianity and all kinds of stuff. And it still has all of those codes inside this book that go back to the beginning of time in cuneiform, because whatever put those stories and those codes are trying to tell us the real truth. And yet we got guys talking about, shit that there is no way of proving. We might as well say, yeah, we're super soldiers on Mars fighting bluebird beings again. All because we have emotional issues. Damn. Where did I leave off here? The reason why people have such a difficult time waking up is because they live in codependent, intimate relationships with narcissists, and therefore in a shared fantasy with them. Is there anybody that hasn't been in a relationship with a narcissist? I have never seen projection like this in my entire life. That's so blatant, and he's being so upfront about it. Or they're in a codependent relationship with parents, friends, associates, acquaintances, coworkers, authorities, banks, governments, their bosses, and the list goes on. I agree with you on all that. So you can't force people, Wes, to stand up for themselves. You can't force people to think for themselves. You can't force people to be assertive in their own life. You can't force people to love themselves and have boundaries. You got to let it go, man. You want happiness, but you don't want free will. Their minds are blocked from often having many different toxic trauma bonds with people around them. They can't see the forest for the trees. Not until people can see clearly and become are secure enough in themselves after having disconnected from the toxic people in their lives and their worst fears have subsided can they start looking at more important issues, their own and humanity's future. But all this must be done now because the future is near and it's not pretty. Okay, well, people have been telling us this since the 80s, since I was a kid. There's always some end of the world thing that's happening. And deep down you wish for it because you want all the bad people that hurt you to learn their lesson. That's what's going on. When we realize what kind of world we live in and we have started to heal, we need to get rid of all the attachments to this world in our minds. Regardless of what attachments we might have, we must train ourselves to the point that we can accept to leave them behind when we exit. Then it's time to repent. Repent. Damn, he's getting Orion biblical on us, right? What are you saying, Dale? Sometimes I think bugs are just people living in other dimensions. I want what you're on. That's a good thought, though. It's time to repent. It is one of the steps we need to take. We need to repent from what we have done as human beings here on earth. This does not mean we will be punished for what we have done during our time here, only that we no longer want to have anything to do with this world and the destructive patterns we have taken on. You are you in this particular lifetime, and the repentance has to do with who you are in the present time, where your focus is. If you murdered someone 600 years ago, that was bad, but still it was back then. You repent in the present time, ready to leave everything here behind. But in order to repent, some healing needs to be done. When you honestly have repented, you become redeemable. Redemption is for your sake and for Orion's sake. We all need to know it's safe to let humans out in the spirit universe. Thus, before you leave the Matrix, you must repent from it. The overlords, on the other hand, are not likely to repent because they are who they are, and therefore they will not be redeemable. Here it comes again. You ready? Narcissists, psychopaths, serial killers, the elite, murderers, rapists, and such people, whether they are humans or overlords, are not redeemable. Holy shit. He just said all narcissists cannot be redeemed. Well, you must not be Christian, because there's all kinds of bad people in the Bible that got redeemed that done worse. But he puts narcissists up here with psychopaths, serial killers, the elite, murderers, rapists, and these kind of people. They're not redeemable because of their nature. They won't repent. So what to do with such people must be for Orion to decide. In 2008, a person who claimed to be an insider working for the global elite posted a long thread on a forum called Above Top Secret. You guys remember that forum? I remember looking at it a lot of times. I accumulated the information, cleaned up the thread, and posted the result on my website, Illuminati-news.com. It is still there for anyone to read. And as a side note, someone copied and pasted this information from my website and published it on Amazon.com under my name. He or she did the same with information I posted from another insider. So, if you look me up on Amazon and you see the 2 books with titles including Hidden Hand, they are not published by me. The imposter takes all the revenue, and I've tried to rectify this with Amazon but haven't been successful. And regardless, the same information is released for free on my website. The person who posted on the Above Top Secret forum called himself the Hidden Hand, and he revealed supposed inside information on how the elite is controlling us, the Hidden Hand being one of them. He was quite arrogant, but it was a popular thread. And if you have not read his information already, follow the link in the footnote and read the article if you like. Among multiple other subjects, Hidden Hand talked about service to self, or STS, and service to others, or STO. He said that to ascend from this 3D construct, we must be over 51% STO. If we are less than that, we will be recycled. The ascension he was talking about was, of course, ascension within Inky's matrix. Moreover, he talked about that he himself must be at least 95% STS, abusive toward humankind, in order to be a catalyst for us, so we can become 51% STO or more. In other words, he claimed he must sacrifice himself for us by abusing us, so we can learn how to become more compassionate. That, my friend, is a psychopath. That's how villains are born, right? They feel like, well, I'm hurt so bad and no one loves me and no one cares about me and everybody hurts me so bad. I've cried myself to sleep so many times and still nobody cares, that I'm just going to become an evil bastard and punish all of you so that you'll learn your lesson. Grow up, man. How can someone like anybody with that kind of attitude have any amount of truth or think they know the truth of the universe and what happens after we die? I would trust a freaking frog with pink hair before I would trust that guy. He added that what he is doing is not an easy task, but he does it for humanity. This is, of course, ludicrous, but that's not the worst part. When I read the comments to the Hidden Hands post, I was very discouraged. People on the forum were so codependent and blindfolded that they thanked the Hidden Hand with all their might for sacrificing himself for them. Well, they do it still nowadays. Just go on social media and watch videos all day. Can you imagine how much loosh the highly narcissistic and psychopathic hidden hand got from that? All these people on the forum giving their energy and their power away. Oh my God, man. The concept of STS and STO comes from the two sources I am aware of, the raw material and the Cassiopeans. The former needs no further introduction because we have discussed the raw material earlier. The Cassiopeans was a group in the 1990s and the early 2000s, compromising people who opened a channel to an ET group claiming to be the Cassiopeans, who transmitted their information to go to the group through a Ouija board. Later, these beings told the group they were them in the future. What else is new? Not only because of the hidden hand and his vicious message, but also due to the nature of the entire concept of STS versus STO. People who take this to heart have apparently developed a great deal of anxiety, always wondering if they are STO enough to be able to ascend and leave this traumatic 3D realm. Of course, even if they do leave this realm, they will only ascend within Inky's construct. Well, dude, you're doing the same thing. This guy was mad at people, so he says, I got to be abusive to, all these other people to teach you a lesson because he doesn't know how to deal with pain and still move on and love. Well, now he's got it down to a math formula. You need to be at least 51% serving others so you can ascend. That's the actual truth, because the truth is this psychopath knows that the human mind likes formulas. That's why we're always seeking for the formula of truth, so we can feel better about being scared about shit in the void that we don't know about. So he knew that. So he gave him a formula, and now they worshiped him. What you're doing is kind of the same thing. You've been narcissistically abused so bad, but you want to find loving beings to be around, but you've given up on Earth, and you've told yourself this story of all these people contacting you from Orion and this whole Matrix thing, and now you're putting it in a book to teach us a lesson. Or that hopefully we'll all just leave Earth. You're not as dark as the other guy. I'll give you that. Shit, it's 11 o'clock. So, we still got a ways to finish this book, but this stuff irritates the hell out of me sometimes. The Central Fire and Humanity's Soul Debt is what's next. How y'all feeling? Now, I'm just assuming too, okay? I don't want to be an asshole here. I feel bad for anybody that's been abused, but we've all been abused and hurt and stuff like that. But, it's a part of growing up. We have to learn how to still be loving while that happens. Just do the golden rule. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And if people don't treat you that way, then it's okay to lovingly let them go. And that's all you got to do. Heal yourself and move on and have a good life. Everything doesn't have to be so damn complicated. New book title, Screaming into the Void. That's basically what it is, yeah. Guys, make sure you support the fringe.fm if you can. Like I said, any amount of donations will go, at least I would say half of them we're going to send to Pacho to help fix his leg, okay? So go to fringe.fm and donate, or you can, if you just want to help Pacho, go straight to GoFundMe and look up Patrick Newlin, Newlin, and you'll see a picture of him and his partner there on the ski slopes. Help him out. Send him a donation because he needs a little bit of help, and he's been there for us too. We're going to get out of here. I may do something tomorrow night. I don't know. I always say that. The weekend's kind of I got so much stuff to catch up on. I've got other videos I want to do. For some reason, they took Jason Quitt's video down, which was one of the most important shows we ever did, but they put it back up after I asked them why it got taken down. Hell, honestly, YouTube didn't even know why it got taken down, or at least that's what they said. So it's back up if you want to go check out that show. And thank you guys for hanging out with us this week. Thank you, all of you who have supported in any way that you can. And if you want to reach me, you can call or leave a voicemail, 501-777-5631. And also, if you want to be played on the promos, or if you want to leave a shout out, that's the perfect place to do it, because that's where we do all the shout outs and stuff where we make our commercials with. It's fun, right? I might, oh yeah, I always forget to mention this. If you're into gaming, I do like gaming. I just started gaming on the Twitch channel and Kick and all this other stuff. It's mainly Twitch and Kick and YouTube. Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. All you have to do is look up the username Magic Maniac. Magic with a CK. All one word. I'll be in there. So subscribe to it if it pops up. Hell, jump in there and play with me. It's fun. Something to do on the weekends when we're bored, right? All right. Yeah, we're going to get out of here. I got to find something to play. Here we go. A little bit more positive vibe. Good night, y'all. Sweet dreams.